worm, worm, worm.
Sensible, sensible, sensible.
Flies, flies, flies.
Enlarge, enlarge, enlarge.
Situations, situations, situations.
I had often wondered why Sir Oliver had such a very short tail. On one of our holidays in the orchard, I tried to ask him by what accident he had lost his tail. "Accident?" he breathed heavily with a fierce look. "It was no accident. It was a cruel and cold-blooded act. When I was young, I was taken to a place where these cruel things were done. I was tied up and held tightly so that I could not move. Then a man came and cut off my long and beautiful tail, through the flesh and through the bone, and took it away." "How dreadful!" I cried. "It was dreadful. I felt awfully bad, not only because of the lasting pain, but because I could no longer get the flies off my sides and back legs. I tell you, it is a wrong and loss for my entire life. But, thank heaven, people don't do it now." "Why did men do it then?" said Ginger. "For fashion," said the old horse, putting his foot down on the ground hard. "Every young horse from a good family in my time had his tail cut in that cruel way." "I suppose fashion made people pull back our heads with those bits in London," said Ginger. "Of course it did," said he. "To my mind, fashion is one of the worst things in the world. Now, for instance, look at the way they treat dogs. They cut off dogs' tails to make them look lively. They cut off hair on their pretty little ears to a point to make them look sharp. If these are true, why don't they cut their own children's ears into points to make them look sharp? Why don't they cut the end off their noses to make them look lively? One would be just as sensible as the other. What right do men have to completely change the appearance of God's creatures and make them suffer?" Ginger was very much excited. She suddenly raised her head with flashing eyes and enlarged nostrils, saying that men were both cruel and stupid. To me, what Sir Oliver said was all new and very dreadful. I felt a bitter feeling toward men, which I had never felt before. To turn the subject, I said, "Can anyone tell me the use of blinkers?" "They are of no use," said Sir Oliver shortly. "They're supposed to prevent horses from getting frightened, moving suddenly, and causing accidents," said Justice. "Then what is the reason they do not put blinkers on riding horses, especially on ladies' horses?" said I. "There is no reason at all except the fashion," said Justice quietly. "I believe," said Sir Oliver, "blinkers are dangerous things at night. We horses can see much better in the dark than men can, and many accidents will never happen if horses have the full use of their eyes." "I should say," said Ginger, moving her nostrils, "that these men, who are so wise, had better give orders that in the future all young horses should be born with their eyes set just in the middle of their foreheads, instead of on the side. Men always think they can improve upon nature and change what God has made. Things were getting rather angry when Merrylegs held up his knowing little face and said, "It is all true, but I'll tell you a secret. I believe John does not agree on blinkers. I heard him talking with Master about it one day. The Master said that if horses had been used to blinkers, it might be dangerous in some situations to leave them off. And John said he thought it would be a good thing if all young horses were trained without blinkers. Our master and his wife are good and kind to everybody and everything, not only men and women, but horses and donkeys, dogs and cats, cattle and birds. There was no unfairly treated or ill-used creature here. And their servants took the same tone. John and James are always good to us too. So talking against men in such a place as this doesn't seem fair or grateful. There are good masters and good grooms besides ours, though, of course, ours are the best." This wise speech of good little Merrylegs, which we knew was quite true, calmed us all down, especially Sir Oliver, who was dearly fond of his master. "Let us be happy and have a run to the other end of the fruit farm. I believe the wind has blown down some apples, and we might just as well eat them before the worms do," Merrylegs suggested. The suggestion could not be resisted, so we broke off our long conversation. We got up our spirits by eating some very sweet apples lying on the grass. The longer I lived at Birtwick, the more proud and happy I felt at having such a place.